Europe, 1954. Throughout the continent, there is a growing sense of optimism. As the nightmare of World War II begins to fade, former enemies forge new links. There's a spirit of enterprise. Civil aviation is booming, boosted by technological advances made during the conflict. In just 2 years, the number of airline passengers has nearly doubled. 9:30 a.m., Sunday, January 10th, Rome Airport. Here, a dozen planes come and go every hour. On the tarmac stands Flight 781, en route from Singapore to London. The plane is a British-built de Havilland Comet. It's the marvel of its day and the perfect symbol of the new technological age. The Comet is the world's first passenger jet, and it's halving journey times around the world. The pride of Britain sends a message of superiority to every aircraft manufacturer in the world.
A dream comes true. At Hatfield Airport, the Comet, the world's first all-jet airliner. Begun 3 years ago, the airliner that makes every other passenger plane out of date will go into operation within 18 months.
The revolutionary design is based on de Havilland's hard-won military expertise. The plane is powered by 4 Ghost jet engines and carries 42 passengers and crew at up to 800 kilometers per hour, almost twice as fast as its nearest competitor. To help it achieve this staggering speed efficiently, it flies at a height of up to 12,000 meters, where the air is thinner. Until now, such performance was the preserve of military jet fighters. 20 months after the launch, there are 17 of these aircraft in service. 9 are owned by the British Overseas Airways Corporation, or BOAC, and among them is Flight 781. 9:40 a.m. BOAC engineer Jerry Bull inspects the Comet's undercarriage. He checks for fuel leaks, tire damage, and marks on the airframe.
You're looking for this incidental damage. There was none, as far as I can recall, at that stage. So my own thought at the time was walking, well, we got a clean airplane today.
At 10 a.m., Bull completes his final checks. The flight crew join him. The captain is Alan Gibson. At 31, he's one of BOAC's youngest pilots.
Captain Gibson was a man of very good ability, not a person who would panic about anything. He was, confident.
In Rome Airport Terminal, members of the new jet set enjoy breakfast. Also on the flight is renowned BBC reporter Chester Wilmot. He's returning home after covering a tour of Australia by the recently crowned British Queen. Chester is a devoted family man with 3 children. He's especially close to his 10-year-old daughter Jane, who was born deaf. She is devoted to him, unaware that he's one of Britain's best-loved broadcasters.
I did adore him. And I knew that he was busy, I knew he was on television, I knew he wrote books. But I don't think I even twigged how famous he was. He was just my dad.
10:05 a.m., and the last pieces of luggage are stored in the hold of Flight 781. The plane will be flying today with 29 passengers and 6 crew members on board. One of the passengers is 23-year-old Bernard Butler. Bernard is an electrical engineer who's been working in Bahrain to save money for his forthcoming wedding. His fiancée is Pat Knight. They've been engaged for 2 years and plan to marry in a fortnight.
I've made the bridesmaids' dresses. All the invitations had gone out. And we'd already received wedding presents. Everything was planned.
Bernard is returning home with a surprise. He's picked out a dress for Pat to wear at their wedding. At 10:18 a.m., all pre-flight checks are complete. Captain Gibson signs to confirm that everything is in order.
Captain Gibson seemed very relaxed. also looking forward to getting home.
Flight 781 is just one of 5 BOAC services from Rome to London today. An older generation of slower propeller-driven airliners make up the other flights. At 10:19 a.m., a BOAC Argonaut, also bound for London, thunders down the runway. Captain Johnson is at the controls. At 10:30 a.m., 11 minutes after the Argonaut's departure, the Comet taxis to the runway.
Control, this is flight BA 781. We are clear for takeoff. Roger.
Air traffic control grant permission for takeoff. 1 minute later, the high-tech plane takes to the air. It's a sunny day, and conditions for flying are perfect. The journey to London will be exactly 2 hours and 37 minutes. The gleaming jet will arrive at London Airport a staggering 2 hours before the propeller-driven Argonaut. At 10:38 a.m., Flight 781 climbs to an altitude of 11,000 meters, twice as high as any other passenger aircraft. To achieve this, while allowing passengers to breathe comfortably, the engineer operates a pressurization system from the cockpit. As the Comet rises, the air pressure inside the cabin is maintained at the equivalent altitude of 2,500 meters, a level easily tolerated by the human body. But for some passengers, adapting to this new sensation is difficult. Soon, though, they acclimatize and settle back into their seats for the flight. What they cannot know is that they will never make it to London. 1954, and a state-of-the-art Comet jet airliner has taken off from Rome en route to London. On board are 29 passengers and 6 crew. As Flight 781 climbs, Captain Gibson receives a message from Captain Johnson in the slower Argonaut that took off a few minutes earlier.
Check receiving.
Each pilot uses the plane's call sign. How Jig for the Argonaut, Yoke Peter for the Comet.
In due course, can you pass on height of cloud layer, please? Well, we're currently at 20,000 feet. Then I'll let you know when we pass through. Roger, out.
At 10:42 a.m., Captain Gibson contacts air traffic control.
We are a beam of the Civitavecchia beacon flying at 23,000 feet.
The plane will fly northwest over the Italian coastline, high above the Mediterranean Sea.
You like some pizza?
At 10:51 a.m., Captain Gibson again radios the Argonaut.
George Howe Jig from George Yoke Peter. George Yoke Peter from George Howe Jig. George Howe Jig, did you get my message?
The message ends mid-sentence.
Yoke Peter, come in, please.
When Captain Johnson gets no response, he contacts Rome Airport.
We've lost contact with BA 781. They just seem to have disappeared. Can you raise them?
At 10:56 a.m., the airport controller tries to contact the Comet. Without success. They fear something is terribly wrong. 200 kilometers northwest, on the island of Elba, a group of Italian fishermen are repairing their nets. Among them is 33-year-old Luigi Papi. As they work, something extraordinary happens.
I felt a break in the air, and then there was a bang, and I heard a sound like thunder, but it was not like any thunder I'd ever heard before.
They watch in amazement as flaming wreckage falls from the sky.